The Auburn Tigers, they enter 2025 looking for redemption, I guess, after a frustrating 5-7 finish in 2024, where, look, Hugh Freeze's squad dropped multiple winnable games thanks to turnovers and late-game breakdowns. Now, in his third season on the Plains, Freeze has rebuilt the roster with an influx of talent and transfers, right? The expectations are that this group should finally deliver a winning campaign. They don't have playoff expectations just yet, but, the arrow is certainly pointing up, and it's not outside the realm of possibilities. The biggest personnel change comes at quarterback. All four from last year's depth chart are gone. Enter in, of course, Jackson Arnold, the former Oklahoma five-star who brings, athleticism and urgency, but also maybe a confidence problem. And he's going to have competition with Ashton Daniels, who started at Stanford the last couple of years, Tanner Bailey, and the freshman Deuce Knight. Auburn's skill talent, is completely loaded. Sophomore star Cam Coleman and Malcolm Simmons, they return at wideout. They are joined by the Georgia Tech transfer Eric Singleton Jr. The backfield loses longtime starter Jarquez Hunter to the NFL, but Damari Austin, Jarrell Robinson, they provide explosiveness. The offensive line could be one of the best in the SEC with Xavier Chaplin and Mason Murphy anchoring the edges. Defensively, Auburn certainly has the makings of a disruptive unit, right? Edge rusher Keldric Faulk is already viewed as an NFL caliber talent. The corners, Kayin Lee and Jay Crawford, they combined for 18 passes defended last fall. Transfer additions like Chris Murray off the edge and Rayon Schrader at corner, they add immediate depth. And, of course, safety, Kaleb Harris, linebacker DeMarcus Riddick, they give the Tigers young stars to build around. The key will be creating turnovers. Auburn finished with an absolutely dreadful -9 margin in 2024. And Hugh Freeze is smart enough to know that, he's smart enough in this to know that winning that battle changes entire seasons, right? The schedule isn't easy. They open SEC play at Oklahoma. They do play at Baylor in the first game of the year. And Jackson Arnold going back to Oklahoma is going to be a huge thing. Following that will be a brutal stretch. You've got Texas A&M, Georgia, Missouri, and that's all within the first 8 weeks of the season. The back half of the schedule is where, it gets a little easy. You got a showdown with Kentucky at Vanderbilt. You play at Arkansas. The games there could really define the season, right? Even if you lose some games early, if you get on a hot streak and then beat Alabama late, if Arnold settles in, the defense grows into his talent, Auburn definitely should be bowling again and finally should break out of the recent rut. Like, Freeze doesn't need miracles. He just needs a quarterback who's not going to give ball games away and a team that plays clean football when it matters the most. I'll tell you, I don't really like the latest stuff that has come out, Derek Nix and whatnot. There was a lot of talk about different coaches calling plays on first, second, and third downs. That sounds a bit concerning. I've never heard that before, but we'll see if it actually is that way, if it matters at all. Like, who knows? Win total sits at 7.5. Odds are -168 to the over. That is an implied probability of 62.69%. So the books think almost 63% of the time Auburn is going to win 8 games based on the schedule. To win the SEC, plus 2,000, that's 20-1. That's a little less than 5%. And the odds to make the CFP this season, plus 360. That's pretty good odds. A 21.74% chance to make the CFP. I will go ahead and tell you, I am not a believer. I don't really like the coaching staff. Yes, they are talented. Yes, their stats showed that they should have been way better last year. I don't like what I hear about the coaching or about the quarterback situation. I don't like the schedule. I don't necessarily believe in the coaches. And Auburn fan, you can hate me if you want to. I've got Auburn 7-5. I've got losses at Baylor. I've got a loss at Oklahoma. I've got a loss against Georgia, a loss at Arkansas, and a loss to Alabama in the last game of the season. Is 7-5 enough for Hugh Freeze to keep his job? Thanks for listening to Winning Cures Everything. Make sure and follow me on Twitter @GaryWCE. If you want to toss in a question, you can email me Gary@winningcureseverything.com. Make sure and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.